Good evening, good evening, good evening. It's Friday night. It's 8 o'clock, and we are live from lockdown still. Don't know how many fucking times I've said that now. I'm just finishing this bit of squash off, and then I am going on the beer. I've still got my fucking empty glass up there from last week. Hope you're all well anyway. Hope everyone's keeping well. Which one of you cunts has done the... That's my favourite comment of the night already. Stu, I get them all the while regularly. These are the people why I still keep going. The ones who hate me, you're the ones keeping me going. If you want me to jack in, just everyone put the thumb up and I'll go. We all know who the guest is tonight. I've been doing it a bit differently this time. Been doing a bit of advertising and I'm putting it out. So we all know who the guest is. There's no surprise there. Just going to have a check who's in the comments. We've got Gus Newton, Jay Cybersnake7, Holster, Retro Red Steve, Matthew Kieran Poulter, new to the channel, I believe. I've not seen you here before. Hello and welcome. Been in the UK, that guy in the corner. I really enjoy saying your name every week now. Gernaldinho, Retro Bear, obviously Stu, Marcus, Dad and Lads Gaming, and Darren McGraven. Good evening to you all. If you do want to give me a thumbs down, I will appreciate it. I really don't give a fuck. But I'm going to bring in my guest. We had a few technical issues because he's not the most savvy. He prefers his older stuff, but we'll bring him in. Good evening, Alex.
Good evening. Thanks for the introduction.
No worries, mate. You know what the worrying thing was is I watched your stream the other week and I thought Alex is well up on this. He's going to overtake me now and start doing this regular. And then when you said to me I couldn't do it, I was like thinking, hang on, he was all right the other week.
No, well, do you know what happened to that stream? I deleted it by accident, so I'm not up on things at all.
I didn't even know.
There was a glitch on YouTube, and I loaded it up, and obviously I got comments, and then, you know, when you go to answer the comments, you go into YouTube, and there's another video, exactly the same one, but it's doing the old magic wheel, and it's saying still loading. Thought,
the thing is with streams, Alex, especially since lockdown started, like the very first one, YouTube are taking like 14 hours to download a 2-hour stream, like to get it perfect.
I thought if people are commenting on it, then it's already uploaded. So I went to delete that one, and of course it deleted the other one. So apologies to all my subscribers that wanted to watch that. There's nothing I could do because it's a stream. It's not recorded, so...
Well, I'm glad because it means they haven't watched it since you did it. So everything you say tonight will be fresh to them. But yeah, with YouTube, when you do a stream, it takes ages to render it and upload the live chat. But if someone like me who watched it live, it will still be in your library that you watch. So you can still click it and go back
to my Spectrum, mate. Fuck all this.
Yeah.
Well, this is a hard act to follow because last week's with Holsters was brilliant. So I've got a hard act to follow there. She was absolutely brilliant last week. Really enjoyed that.
She's a gem, is Holzer, and much appreciated coming on. I'll start off with a few stats, how I did with Stu. You're on 191 uploads at the moment. Probably should be 192 if you hadn't deleted that stream.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't look at stuff like that. But,
see, yeah. I do because it gives me something to do now. It's a bit like this is your YouTube live. So you've got 3.5 thousand subscribers, 351 and 500,000 views. Jesus Christ, that was hard to say. And you get on average 156 views per day and 1,000 a week. So quite successful channel you've got going on there, Alex.
It's not bad, is it?
and as we were discussing before we started, your first video was uploaded on the 15th of February 2013, so nearly 8 years ago. So as I said, you must have had a bad Valentine's Day then.
Well, I did. As you know, that relation didn't turn out too well. Couldn't wait to get out of the house.
So is that the way it went? You started talking to a camera rather than the missus?
I did, yeah. I got more out of the camera, obviously.
A bit more feedback.
Oh, totally, yeah. Yeah, no, it seems like a long time ago now. I mean, I don't think I did a lot in that first year. Really what I was doing. Strange, that first video, when you go back and look at it. And the funny thing is, the music in that, I think that video would have been taken down by now, because obviously you're not allowed to put music, are you, on videos? But someone told me it's because I'm playing it through my Ghetto Blaster, a tape, that it doesn't pick it up because it's at a slower speed.
Yeah, I'm guessing because obviously I've bought those data discs recently, and I and what's it called? Cine Steve and Pete Armour reckons I should be okay to play them in the background, and the YouTube
Yeah,
box will pick up because it's not quite a clear crystal sound.
that's
It
right.
seems to evade the bot sort of things
Yeah,
like.
you can do that. I mean that's Japan I was playing in that first video, and they're quite a well-known band, so I'm sure that would have been taken down.
I was mentioning to Stu, like the only copyright strike I've got is from bloody Nintendo because they're bastards for it.
Yeah, yeah. I've had one when I did a game room tour, and it was through a pinball machine that someone had on the music in that. Or was it? Yeah, it was actually it was a 4/4 bar in Peckham Rye. I know the guys quite well up there. In fact, I built their bar up there. It's a wicked arcade. If you're ever in London, go to Peckham Rye 4/4 arcade. And I did a game room tour of the whole place, and obviously I had music on in the background. I got a strike from that, and I had to take that down. I think that was the only one I've had. To be
The
honest,
only one I had was when I was playing Salamander on the NES, and it told me I could take out that footage if I want, but it meant all my video would have been my intro and my outro, and anything in between would have been took out. So
really,
yeah, I just left it. Not that I'm ever going to be able to monetize it. I think he's got about 20 views anyway. So good
what
luck.
is the score with music then? I mean, can you play music on your channel if you're not advertising?
Well,
Do you have to advertise so they make money out of that music?
see that if they monetize it, they will make the money off it, sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm never quite sure
Because
how it works, really.
I know Retro Games Revive, Sean, he started doing the 8-bit jukebox.
Yeah,
But I think he avoids anything that's Nintendo because Nintendo are pretty hot on striking. Sega and that don't seem bothered.
right. Well, if you ever watch my gaming tour, some of the music, you know, when I'm doing the driving, the sped up, the time lapse driving to the games room to the door, that is actually off a Nintendo CD. That's Metroid Prime on the GameCube, and I've never had a strike from that. And why should I own the music? I've brought it, so why should I get a strike from it? You know.
Well, that's my argument with why should I pay tax on selling a game that's already had tax paid on it 40 years ago? You know what I mean? Stu says you can play music, you just can't monetize that video. So that will be the answer there. Nintendo just blocked the fucking lot. We've got our first question of the evening. It's from Pete, who's having a bit of an identity crisis. He's not sure if he's SNES-tastic or the Amico kid anymore.
Who's this?
He sounds like
a retro tip.
What's it called? No, SNES. It sounds like a cowboy's name, that does, doesn't it? The Amico kid, SNES-tastic.
It does. The Milky Bar kid.
I was thinking more Billy the Kid, but he says, does Alex plan on rebuilding his US SNES collection?
Oh, definitely. In fact, I was chatting to Jay Cybersnake 7 today. I've picked up a few Super Famicom games in the last couple of weeks, and definitely want to pick up the collection there where I left off. I've still got, fair few, probably around 50 lovely boxed American Super Nintendo games, but unfortunately I had to sell quite a few because it's been the last couple of years been really difficult for me, to be honest. And it's something that has to give, and some of the games had to go, unfortunately, but I do plan to get them back. Definitely. I held on to all the rare stuff and just kept the stuff and thought I can get that back at another time, but yeah, definitely.
Well, if Jay Cybersnake 7's still in the chat, there is a nice, lovely boxed American Super Nintendo locally to us, and he's got about 4 box games with him. He don't want the cheapest. I've been trying to get him down for about a month, but it's on Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah.
But if Jay was interested, because I know I'm tight. I'll try and break them down. I do until I can get them for the least.
A lot of these YouTubers are PAL collectors, though, aren't they?
I collect everything.
Yeah.
My collection is like my head. It's a bit all over the place and scatty. If I just see something, I just get it. So
if you've got an EverDrive, you can play the Super Nintendo games that were meant to be played at full speed. And if you want the nostalgia, you could just collect the PAL Super Nintendo games if you wanted to, and just have them on the shelf. That's not a bad way to go, actually.
Well, I don't like using EverDrive, but then again, I'll say that right. I've got that multi-cart for the Vectrex, and I'm still going around buying the flipping cartridges.
Yeah.
because I don't know why I want them all individual. It's more for the overlays though. I'll try and pick them up if they got the overlay, because the overlay makes the game that little bit better, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean,
So,
I'm a collector like yourself. You know, I love collecting. I never stop collecting, but I do use EverDrives just to check the games out. And obviously, some of the expensive games I'm never going to own are worth playing. I mean, I'd rather have an EverDrive and play the games and not play them at all, just for the sake of, you know.
I have got I've gone EverDrive with the PC Engine just because a lot of the high end titles are very, very high end. So,
yeah.
But I've not really bothered with. I don't see. I'd never want to be one of them people who say I'm going to go for a full collection, because then that puts pressure on me to do it.
Yeah,
but if I accidentally keep picking up everything individually, and then all of a sudden I've got a full collection, then I'm quite happy about that.
Yeah, I think the days of going for full collection on Super Nintendo have well passed for me. I just want probably about 100 of my favourite games on the system, really. Maybe 150, back to where I was. And that's it. And I don't mind if they're Super Famicom games either. You know, I'm not going to pay £1,000 for Hagane again. I'd rather just pay, what was it, a couple of hundred on Super Famicom. Going down that route, really. It plays exactly the same.
Right, I've got quite a few questions, so we'll go on to them. Time Warp James says, for Alex, how many hours did I hear you say in a video that you put into Breath of the Wild?
Oh, God. Over 600 hours. Over 600. But that's not just me. We probably played through it about 3 times. So that was me playing through. Then my daughter played it through. And then my son played it through a bit as well. And we're still playing it today. We still log in with my partner's kids now. They're enjoying it. It's just one of those games. It's so easy just to drop in at any part of the game and just pick up. You know, RPGs are quite difficult, really. You've got to follow a lot of the stories. But with Zelda, it's so easy just to drop in at any point in the game and just carry on. It's such a great game.
So if there's 3 playthroughs, that's averaging about 200 hours per playthrough. Am I guessing there?
Probably, yeah. I got the DLC as well, but that was all right. You know, it wasn't that much to it, really. Just going down deeper in the levels, see how many bosses you could fight, one after the other. But yeah, I loved it. I loved the game. I can't wait for the second one. It's absolutely. Look, Zelda and Metroid are probably 2 of my favourite franchises in Nintendo. Definitely.
I know you're a big Metroid fan, because obviously I've had a scan through your videos and stuff. Question from Scott, quite an interesting one. Is the Nintendo Switch Nintendo's best console release ever?
Yeah, it is. I've just learnt today that it's overtaken the Wii in Japan in terms of sales, which is absolutely incredible. It is the biggest selling console in Japan at the moment. It's outselling the PS5, Xbox, everything. And they did just a great job in getting their 2 R&D departments together in terms of the handheld and console, and getting them working together. And now they've got this hybrid console, which to me is absolutely fantastic. And I think, you know, with the Nintendo, they always devise their consoles around the Japanese market first, because the Japanese have got very small houses, very small abodes. They haven't got room for all this stuff, and they can take it on the train. You know, the DS was a massive hit for Nintendo, and they were trying to kind of get that market with the Switch, and they fucking nailed it, because not only do they appease the Japanese market, they appease the Western market as well. And you can log it in the dock, and you can play it on the big screen. You know, I think it's a fantastic console. So many games being made for it. I love all the collector's pieces for it. I love all the retro stuff, all the arcade stuff that's coming on for it. It is probably my favourite console. I mean, I love the Super Nintendo. You know, that has always been my favourite. But, you know, you just can't you can't keep up with the games that are being released on the Switch. I can't, you know, just can't keep up with it all.
What I will say is, like, you mentioned the Wii there, that was the previous high. So I think Nintendo in that generation did a clever thing and didn't even bother trying to compete with Sony or Microsoft. They went their own way, kept it simple, kept it in a unique playing style. And
still there. You're still there,
yeah,
Dana.
Yeah, I'm still there, mate, and you are as well. Can you hear me?
No.
How can you answer me if you can't hear me then? Technical difficulties.
Ah, I can't hear you.
Hang on, hang on. Can you hear me now?
Fuck.
Can you hear me now, Alex? Oh, we have technical issues live on the stream. You all right, mate?
Are you there? I can't hear you. Shit.
Hang on. Can you hear me now?
What the fuck? What happened to that?
Hello?
I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Right, for the first time ever on the stream, we have technical issues, so I will go reading down the comments. If I just drop Alex out again a second. Right, so we've got a few technical issues. Fuck me, we went to the moon in the 60s. That's awesome. Alex, can you hear me again?
What the fuck's happened to that?
This is what happens when you get old folks on your stream. They can't handle the technology.
I have to come back in, Dane. I can't hear you. I don't know how you turn the fucking thing on. I had a phone call.
I literally said to Alex before we went live this evening, I said, no, don't worry about the phone calls. No one's ever had a phone call while I've been live on air. I bet it's one of you bastards in the chat, innit? Who's fucking ringing? I'm going to have me a beer anyway. So let's read what everyone's got to say. What's Silly Steve talking about? Shall I answer some of Alex's questions for him? That's what we'll do. Stu, why do you keep asking this question, by the way? It's a bit fucking weird, to be fair. There's no fuckers ever going to turn around and say it was you. Hopefully, Alex doesn't try and ring me to find out how to work it out. I will fucking... Let me mark the question that was last asked. You don't get this on fucking LKG's channel, do you? I should have just left him on, shouldn't I, while he was trying to get it on, because he was quite funny, weren't he? Poor bloke, poor bloke. Can you hear me? Oh, no. I'm going to have to try and give him a fucking call on my phone, you know? I'll drop him a text, say, are you coming back? Fucking hell, all these top YouTubers, I don't have it happen to them. Oh, Japanese Alan's finally replied to me anyway. So at least I have it confirmed that Alex is coming back. He's just texted me back. Technical difficulties, Tony, stop. Mate, if you're going to have technical difficulties, right, I'd spend a month. Is she even still going? Zombie. Shall I have a look? I can't. I'm not going to start fucking about because then I'll fuck up the stream for myself. I'm not asking. Yeah, I just think it's a weird question. If everyone was clever, like they would pick someone kind. I'd stay with Metal Jesus Rocks just to fucking have a swim in his basement and play on his new PS5 he got today. Dainster and the Crazy Crowd. Is that fucking... That could be anyone here. What's that? I'm reading all the questions now. I'm not going to know what to fucking ask. 600 hours into Breath of the Wild. I hate to tell that, Alex, right, but I don't even like Zelda. Not a franchise I like. I have played Metroid, though. Rush, you'd be on a fucking list if you had to spend a month with a game of Virgins. That is the best comment I'll probably have tonight. Technical difficulties. Do you have a few with the TMB podcast? I don't know what Alex is doing. All he has to do is copy and paste it back in. This is going to be the longest stream ever. How many minutes we had to catch up on now? What time did Alex leave us? Angry video games nerds. Ain't they had a fallout now, him and his other mate? Did he 100% complete it, though? Is that because you have, Russ? I know you have 100% completed Breath of the Wild. Is anyone drinking tonight? Put a comment in this thing to see what everyone's drinking. For Dainster, now what? There's a famous Queen song. Not another one bites the dust. It's called The Show Must Go On, and the show will go on. Just you'll have to start asking me questions, and I've got fuck all interest to say. Dry shave with a cutthroat razor, is it, Marcus? Who the Diet Coke? Fucking hell, I thought I was bad. Stewie's not drinking. I don't fucking believe that either. Let's just drop Alex another message. Should have just let the phone call ring and left it. No, I answered it. I think he tried to answer it and then he fucked it up, to be fair. I like that comment. I'm guessing Addy Sneaker Freak doesn't like it. Budweiser for Tutti. Fizzy. What the fuck? Benelin. That sounds like fucking medicine. Isn't Benelin medicine? My guest, Basabi, because you were late, you missed it. Alex had to go for a poo. He's just gone for a poo, and then once he's had a poo, he'll be back. His Wi-Fi was sound. Someone rung him. I reckon it was Cinny Steve gave him a phone call or something. Or he's not charged his phone or something, because he's not even answering me back now on the old, what's it called? The Facebook. He's calling me. Should we answer the call live? Let's do that. Hello, Alex. You're still live on YouTube. Please do not swear.
Mate, honestly, I'm so sorry. My brother rang me. I had to take that call.
No, it's cool, mate.
My dad's not well at the moment, so there's a bit of an emergency there, unfortunately. I'm trying to get back in.
Mate, if you need to go, you can go, mate. And we.
What did I do last time? I'm going to go to Safari, didn't I?
Yeah, go to Safari and copy it back into it, mate.
Copy your link.
That link I sent you, just copy that straight into Safari, and then you can come straight back in, mate.
All right, mate. Okay, I'll try and do it now.
All right, mate. Speak to you in a bit.
Yeah.
Right, so it's a good job Alex did take that call. So he will be back with us in a sec. I'm just going to hold the fort, drink some more beer. Kind of wish I had some snacks again. Are you intoxicated? Holes, what are you drinking? Not shitty bud like Stu. Who's on the reserve bench? There is no reserve bench. We have one guest and that's it. But he'll be come back. Standard can of... Rob, how do you fucking drink a can of Monster this late on a night? Because I would be climbing the walls. Strongbow to the good man. That's what I'm drinking as well. I am trying to get... Oh, fuck me. I've done the old thing where I need to double tap and get out. Oh, he's back.
Hey, guys.
Welcome back.
So sorry, guys.
No worries, mate. I hope your dad's okay, sort of thing, like.
Yeah, Dad's not well at the moment. Hasn't been. I won't go into too much detail, but he's not in a good way at all. And I've got to go down there next week and stay with him. Unfortunately, that was my brother ringing. So I do apologise, everyone, for that.
No worries, mate. I held the fort. I am sweating a bit now. A bit
sorry,
profusely.
dude. Sorry. I hope
mate. If anything like that happens when we're live, man, I expect people to take those sort of phone calls all day. Yeah. I just need to scroll and find the last question we was at. And we will carry on like nothing ever happened. I might have told them that you'd gone for a poo because someone asked where you was when you come in.
That would have been a long wait.
I was saying before we got cut off that Nintendo are almost quite clever by not competing with Sony and Microsoft and almost becoming everyone's like second console. Like if you owned a PlayStation or an Xbox, you'd probably own a Wii as well, and also now with the Switch. Yeah, so they've almost ruled out any fanboys, and because Xbox versus Sony's that sort of thing, but now everyone seems to accept Nintendo, whereas back in the day it was Sega or Nintendo and they were getting 50-50 of the market sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, today's a different world anyway, isn't it, really? I mean, a lot of games come onto both. If you're talking Xbox and PS5, PlayStation, most games come on both systems anyway. And you can't really tell too much between the two consoles. Whereas
Yeah.
back in the day, you know, there was a big difference, wasn't there, between Nintendo and Sega in the 16-bit and 8-bit eras. But now there's not that much, really. It's just another way of playing games, another medium, another console of playing games. You know,
Yeah.
I think it's just the online service, whatever you prefer. We want to chat with your mates playing games and stuff like that. It's probably slightly different. I wish Nintendo actually would catch up there a little bit. That is one thing I don't like, that you can't.
Yeah, the Nintendo Online's not probably the greatest, is it, compared to the other two?
No, it's not.
Where do you think Nintendo go from the Switch?
Well, I think they'd bring out well, everyone's talking about a Pro, so an updated version of the Switch.
I always remember they had a patent passed where the Switch could go into a VR headset. Do you ever think that may be somewhere they go?
No, I don't.
You know?
No, VR's a funny one. I still don't think it's quite there yet, to be honest with you. For long periods of gaming, I don't think you can do VR really for that long. No, I don't know. I think for now the future is just maybe for Nintendo is to bring out a high definition one, a proper high definition, more powerful Nintendo Switch. But who knows? Nintendo always do something completely different. They might come out with a completely new console next year. Who knows, man? They just do what they want to do, which I like. You know, it doesn't always work out, like the Wii U, which was a terrible console. I don't own one anymore. I think it was awful. It really was.
I'm glad someone else says that, because I get a lot of shit for saying that, and I almost class the Wii U as like a prototype for the Switch with that tablet, to almost like to test the market, whether it get on.
Yeah, totally. And you pick up the Wii U now, it feels really plastic, doesn't it? Really horrible. And the games are all on the Switch now anyway, so there's no reason really to plug a Wii U in, to be honest with you. You know. No, I think the Switch is amazing. I think they need to sort the Joy-Cons out because they're still drifting. The dock would be nice, a new type of docking system, because that looks a bit cheap and nasty, you know. Yeah, and then just upgrade what they've got. I think they do really well out of that.
Right, I've got plenty of questions anyway, because they asked you a load while you're gone, so we'll go on to the next one. Where is he? This is Stu's. If Alex had to live with any other YouTuber for a month, who would it be and why? He asks everyone this every week now.
What in their house? Or they live with me?
No, that you live with them in their house.
Oh, that's a weird question, man.
That's what I said, but he likes it answering.
Oh. Oh, fucking hell, I don't know. Well, it'd have to be someone with a shitload of games, I guess, that you could play all the time, and plenty of rooms to hide in. I don't know. Probably my mate Alpha One, Ollie. I don't know if you know him. He's not a YouTuber, but I did do a game room tour of his. I'd stay in his house actually, because he's got shitloads of arcades, loads of PCBs, and I could spend all day going through them all day. You know.
Isn't he the guy who infamously passed you the Popeye PCB?
That's him. Yeah, he's about 7 foot tall. He's massive. Have you ever seen him at Revival? He's about 6'4" or whatever. He's huge, but he's a gentle giant. He's the most loveliest of guys. Very generous. He's very quiet. You know, you don't know what to think of him at first, but he's a very generous, really nice guy. And you know, that's a great game room tour. That one. I love rummaging around in his stuff. He's been collecting. I mean, he's about 10 years younger than me, and he collects all this old stuff. You know, he collects the real Bronze Age arcade machines, which I love. You know, he's got a fantastic collection.
Nice one. On to the next question from Retro Red Steve.
All right, Steve.
When is the Outzone board getting sorted?
Oh, mate, that's been with my mate Nad for 6 months now, and I message him each week because I'm desperate to play that game. It is one of my favourite tower plan game. If not, it's one of my favourite run and gun games, I should say. I do like run and gun games, and that is probably one of my favourite. If you haven't played Outzone, it is awesome. Really, really cool game. I've been playing it on my Pi, but it's not quite the same. I want to stick it in my Jammer Cab. It's a lot easier to play arcade games in a Jammer Cab. So yeah, I don't know where I'm going to get that. I mean, it's out of my hands. In the arcade world, turns at a really slow pace, and you can't pester people to fix stuff. They do it when they're ready to do it, you know, because there's not many people that repair things. So you don't want to get on the wrong side of people, you know, or you'll have no one to fix your PCB. So you just go, okay, when you're ready, I'll have it back, you know, but hopefully soon.
Nice one. On Cine Steve, before we answer this question, it's about your game room tour series. Do you remember who the first person was of your first game tour?
Yeah, it was Tony Temple.
Correct.
The world champion at Missile Command.
Also correct. Do you know the date then, or what year at least?
Oh, what year? It's got to be 4 years ago, I'm guessing. I'm not sure when I started the game room tours, actually. Maybe longer. Yeah, it must be for longer. 5 years ago. What are we now to?
You're correct. 14th of April 2016.
Right, okay.
When it was Tony Temple, the Missile Command world record holder. See, I've done a little bit of. Do you know who your last one is? How's your short-term memory?
Bonehead.
Correct.
Steve. Yeah. Anything in between, you got me.
So, Cine Steve asked, when's the next Games Room tour coming? Love that series.
Yeah, I've got a few lined up, but obviously because of lockdown, nothing's happening. I've got Fraser, who's an interesting guy. He's a grave digger.
My uncle's actually a grave digger.
He's a fucking grave digger, and he's actually got a coffin in his fucking arcade. He's a lovely, lovely guy, but fuck me, is he weird.
My old man always tells me a story about, like, obviously my uncle's his older brother, who's the grave digger. Like back in like when he lived, still lived at Manan, so you're talking 70s, 80s sort of era. They used to still dig the graves by hand then. And my dad was sat eating his tea, and he goes, "Fucking hell, what's that smell?" And what it was is my uncle had, because like they used to have graves below the graves, and he'd been digging. And he put his foot straight through a fucking old rotten coffin, and it all soaked in his sock and everything, all the rotting. And that's what my dad could smell while he was eating his fucking dinner.
Oh, fucking hell. That's horrible, isn't it?
Yeah. My dad said to him, he said, "Why don't you go upstairs and get changed?" He was just fucking sat there still in it, didn't care, me uncle. My uncle also used to live, if anyone ever
I don't mean to sound a bit funny, but they're doing pretty well at the moment, aren't they, old grave diggers?
Oh, fucking hell. Well, my uncle's had that one job his whole life. He once used to live in the house on the cemetery in Dudley, and I used to hate going visiting because it's a proper creepy old Tudor house.
Yeah.
And it was on the cemetery. He only lived there 1 year, so that will say what you want for it. He didn't want the job after the year. He didn't want to live on site anymore.
Oh dear.
So obviously, once COVID's over, that series may be making a comeback. I'm guessing.
Definitely, mate. Yeah, as long as people keep stepping forward. I mean, it is getting harder and harder to find people to film. Obviously, you know, I need permission to go into people's houses, and a lot of collectors. I've got some amazing collections. You know, there's some collectors out there that I'd love to do a tour of, but they just won't let me in. They're a bit shy of camera, you know, and very quite timid people. And you've got to respect that. You know, whenever you go into someone's house, you have to be very respectful, not to film parts of the house they don't want to. You know, family pictures, number of the door, all that sort of thing. And I'm very respectful of all of that. And I say to them, as soon as I go there, what part of this do you want me to do? You know, so that's always sorted out before I go there. So, you know, the last thing I want when I upload a video is like, oh man, you left that in, you know, why don't you take that out? It's like, you know, actually I've had someone recently ask me to take one of the game room tours down. And I don't know why, obviously for certain personal reasons, or I don't know, but I said to him, really? I don't really want to do that. He said, oh, well, as long as I know you will take it down if I want you to. All right, yeah, I will do if you want me to, but I don't, you know, which was a bit of a weird one, you know, because it is my property at the end of the day. My videos, I've spent all that time doing it. It is my channel, my video. I can do what I want with it. But because they are members of the community, I respect them. If they want me to take something down, I probably would do, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I'd almost like feel like that with these streams. Like if someone like wanted me to take it down or something, because like if they'd said something quite bad, like I can't actually fucking edit this, so they need to understand it's live sort of thing. Like,
yeah,
but almost like by agreeing to come on, you're putting yourself out there. So I wouldn't like to have to take any of these down, either in the same sort of aspect sort of thing, if you know what I mean.
yeah, yeah.
So, quick question from Sega Zombie. What Sega game would you have wished was on Nintendo?
Sorry?
What Sega game would you have wished was on Nintendo?
Super Hang-On's a good one. And Space Harrier. Space Harrier is a classic. I remember when Space Harrier came out in the arcades, it was jaw-dropping. It was absolutely jaw-dropping. Because the first one I saw, I was at Brighton Pier. It was the big hydraulic one. Right. And there were crowds around it. So if you got on that machine, you got pretty far in it. You know, you were a pretty cool dude. You know, it was just one of those games that was super cool to watch as a voyeur and super cool to play. And it's still, you can still hear it now. You know, that in the background. You know, just a bit like Space Invaders. You know, you could just hear it over everything else. It was just one of those really cool games. So yes.
I love the Space Harrier series as well, to be fair.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I mean, Sega were king of the arcades at that point, no, without a doubt. You know, they were just pumping them out left, right, and centre. They were king. Nintendo had left the arcades by then, and they just concentrated on the home market. So, you know.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, especially in my generation, we don't know really Nintendo as an arcade franchise, more or less. We know it as a home franchise, whereas Sega was both. I mean, you could argue that probably Nintendo have come back more in the arcades now. I mean, I see a lot of the Mario Kart games in the arcades. They're quite predominant now.
Yeah, it's Namco. It's Namco really that make those. But yeah, they are cool. Cruising Blast is a good one. It's got Nintendo logo on it, but it's Namco that are making it really. They're really, really cool. I do remember Nintendo games. I remember Space Firebird was quite a popular game back in the early 80s. And Donkey Kong, I remember in a little cocktail. I remember playing that.
Alex, you've got to remember, I was only born in the early 80s.
Yeah. So do you see yourself as a 90s kid then, Dana? Because I see, like, if you've grown up, see, I was born in 71, grew up in the 70s, have fond memories of the 70s and not buying the toys, but giving the toys for Christmas. But in the 80s, I became a teenager and a consumer of the culture. And that makes me an 80s kid, not 70s kid. Do you see what I mean? There's a difference. People say, oh, they were born in the 80s or 80s kids. They're not really. You weren't a consumer of it. You weren't part of the culture. Do you know what I mean?
See, I think being early 80s with 83, I remember a lot of the end of the 80s and a lot more of the early 90s. And then by the late 90s, I like when I think of nostalgia, like I was out of cartoons by the end of the 90s. It weren't really my thing, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I find myself somewhere between late 80s, early 90s. But my biggest thing is I've got a brother who's 50 this year. He's 13 years older than me. So obviously I had a lot of hand-me-down stuff, and I have I remember like home computers being at home still, and I'd have been really, really young then. You're probably talking 5 or 6, and I remember playing on them.
Yeah.
Because obviously having that older brother sort of thing. So I have a lot of nostalgia for the Amstrad, which, you know, probably wasn't in my house come 1990. It was probably gone, and I'd moved on to the Master System.
Yeah.
So I must have been, I've been meaning to go through, and it's almost because of Mom passing, I don't want to go through the photo albums, if you know what I mean. But I'd like to go back and see actually how old I was when I was playing that Amstrad and stuff like that, just because I have memories of it, but I have no idea how old I was, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, totally. I mean, the 80s for me was so special, honestly. And, you know, I always feel like a bit of an old fuddy-duddy, really, because you keep going back and reminiscing about the days. But they were so special. I know my dad used to go on about the 60s, the swinging 60s. They were great. They had rock and roll. It was a new thing, you know. It's exciting times. Well, I think that it was like that for us in the 80s, you know, with the video games. It was a total new thing that we'd never seen before, and the old people didn't get. A bit like rock and roll, you know, their old parents didn't get it, and it was great that they didn't get it, because it was our thing, you know. We were into it. We pumped the money into it. We went down to the arcade and played them. And you know, I became a collector of games when I was 10. So in 81, 82, when I got my Spectrum 48K, and I've still got all my original games that I paid for with my paper round money. I'd never get rid of them. I became a collector, and I haven't stopped collecting since 1981, 82. And it's obviously, when you become a teenager, when you become in your 20s, you go out and do different things, travel a little bit, you know, you get into bands and music and whatnot, going down the pub. But games have always been there in the background, you know. And I think now, obviously, I've come back into it, and I really enjoy the hobby now. It's such a fantastic hobby, such a great community of people out there. I love every aspect of this hobby. It's just fantastic. I can't get enough of it. It's so
Brilliant.
cool.
I think another thing that also merges the 80s and the 90s together is a lot of TV and TV series were repeated several years down the line.
Yeah.
So like I remember watching stuff like Alvida Same Pet, which was early 80s, but I watched it later in the 80s with my dad as it came through. Also with the cartoons, like the original He-Man stuff was released in 83, but I think it was still being played up to like 87, 88. They were still rerunning it, sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, if it was popular, it would have kept running, right? It's a bit like the old game. Space Invaders came out in 78, 77, but it made so much money that it was still in the arcades 10 years later.
Yeah.
So people of your age remember it as well.
Yeah.
You know, so you've got nostalgia as a kid growing up with Space Invaders because it was so popular. Whereas like games like Sheriff that probably made no money whatsoever, it was bad timing. And they probably smashed them all up, and there was only 2, 3 left in the world. You know, if it didn't make any money, they smashed them up. You know,
not skipping your question, Pete, but I think we already kind of answers it. What do you both see Nintendo's next console being? I think we brushed on that when we were talking about the Switch. I'm just catching up to now to when you came back, because I held pause on the question, so. Let me just get up to date with the chat. I've probably missed loads of questions. UK VAT King, who is that? Is that someone who you know?
No.
Oh, right. Well, he
reckons this has got a name. I don't know. I should know, shouldn't I? I'm an admin on UK VAT.
Oh, I think I've got a couple of trolls in, actually, so they might be aiming at you. So I'm hoping Stu's probably going to boot them out. So I'll skip past them because I haven't got fucking time for idiots.
Yeah.
For both, have you played the Speed Rumbler? And what do you think is an underrated arcade game? What is Speed Rumbler?
I don't know.
Can we elaborate on that, Steve?
I don't know what that is, Steve.
No. What do you think is an underrated arcade game then?
Well, there's lots really. Lots that came out in America that we didn't see. Because, you know, in America you had the video game crash. So around sort of 83, there are a lot of video games, arcade games, that weren't successful, didn't make any money, not because they're no good, it's because they had a crash there. So games like Zookeeper, which I have in my collection, is an underrated game. Not many people know about it, but it is an absolutely fantastic game. But it didn't do well in the arcades, and that's purely because the video game crash. And there's quite a few games around that sort of era that came out in America that weren't that successful. That obviously collectors now cottoning onto, like Mad Planets. A lot of people like Mad Planets. That's quite a really cool Gottlieb game. not a lot of people know about, and it's because it came out at the wrong time. You know, no fault of its own, just bad timing, really. But yeah, I mean, Zookeeper. Trying to think of others. Some of them are in my collection. Rescue, I think, is an underrated game. It's a great little twin stick shooter. Yeah, that's it, really. I can't think of any others.
So if Steve tells us what Speed Rumbler is, I'll get back to that. Stu wants to know, is your chair from the 60s, 70s porno, Emmanuel? I must admit, when you first came on tonight, I was thinking, that chair reminds me of like something like out the Rednecks, like a hillbilly or something.
Yeah.
I didn't even know it was a rocking one.
Piggy, squeal. Listen, mate, I have to make do with what I've got at the moment. It's not like I can fucking do. You know, I've had fucking a broken arm for 9 months. This place would have been done and dusted by now, but unfortunately, it stinks in here as well. So I think I've left a dirty sock in here somewhere. It absolutely stinks. But yeah, I have to make do. It's shit, but you know, it's more than what most people have got.
I'd love to have the space you've got, to be fair, mate.
Well, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I'm working in a 6 foot by 8 foot box room. I am.
Well, that's all I had for fucking 8 years, Dana. That's all I had. You look at my first videos, that tiny little games room was absolutely, it was like 8 foot by fucking 4 foot. It was so small, but I made the most of it. I really did. So I'm really happy and lucky that I've got this space, but I just want to crack on with it now, you know, and by the end of the summer, hopefully this will be done. And I've got so many cool plans for this room. It's going to look awesome, absolutely awesome when it's done. But yeah, I just can't wait. But this chair was given to me by my partner. She just, because I've had a fucking deck chair down here for about 2 months. Fucking deck chair. So now I've got this, man. The old fucking grandfather, the old granddad, the old pa, look, and the old whiskey.
It's a nice drop of whiskey you've got there as well. Not whiskey, it's a rum that's cracking.
Sorry, rum, yeah.
Nice.
It's a shotgun.
Fair play. Nice. I like that. So, question from Sega Zombie: what arcade game would you have loved to have come to the consoles?
Outzone. Outzone's a classic. A lot of those tower playing games which would have been great on the console. I did hear through the grapevine that Tower Plan had plans to do that, and that would be amazing to have like a collection of tower playing games on the Switch. They made some fantastic games. Obviously, some came on the Mega Drive, like Zero Wing and stuff like that. But yeah, Black Dragon or Black Knight's a great arcade game. It never came onto the arcades. God, what else is there? That's the only two I can think of at the moment.
No worries.
Juno First would have been a good console game.
We've got a question from Marcus, Dads and Lads. Has Alex been to Galloping Ghost? I'm assuming, is that an arcade or?
Yeah, it's in America. No, I haven't. I've seen plenty of videos of that, mate. Yeah, it looks awesome. I mean, the plan is, as soon as we're out of lockdown and all this fucking shit's over, to go back to America, meet up with my old pal Whitney Roberts, who I did the Skyscraper project with, and we're going to hook up and go to Chicago, where they've got some of the best barcades in the world. I did plan to do that actually a couple of years ago, but I got to put my back out and I couldn't travel. But I do plan to go back to America. I'm planning to go back to visit John as well. I'll go back and visit John's arcade. He's invited me over. Love to hang out in his basement, and do some videos. Would be awesome.
I watched, obviously, John's Arcade's video on your Sky Skipper journey today. And how obvious was it going to be that he was going to knock that popcorn or candy thing off? It was fucking bouncing up and down. I could see it happening. I literally thought that's going to go on the floor in a minute, and then it just goes.
Yeah, that was well overdue. Every video building up to that, it was like, that fucking thing's going to fall over at any minute, you know. It just happened to be the Sky Skipper video, because everybody that commented, it was all about the fucking popcorn machine and not about Sky Skipper.
It was brilliant though, because he didn't even edit it out. He just left it, didn't
He
he?
left it in. Well, good. Yeah, he ended up smashing it up with a baseball bat, didn't he?
Did he? I
Yeah, he
don't know.
smashed it with a baseball bat that we gave him. We gave him a special Sky Skipper baseball bat, and he ended up smashing it up with that, I think.
Brilliant.
Top guy. He's a top guy. Real top
From
guy.
Champion 2D, Rob, for both, what is your favourite 90s era arcade game? Well,
how you doing, Rob? 90s. What? Sorry, arcade game. 90s.
Yeah.
See, that I got out of the arcades really in the 90s. I was travelling a lot. I lived in Sweden in the early 90s and came back just about when sort of Britpop was kind of hitting full swing. So I don't really like a lot of the cave games. I find them really hard to get into.
I'm going with Turtles, just because of the nostalgia of my age, and I loved Turtles at the time.
Turtles is the worst game ever made.
No, fuck off. It is. It's either that or The Simpsons.
I just don't get it. The first time I went round to Retro Dave Nintendo's place, he had all this fucking Ninja Turtle shit everywhere. I said, "What the fuck's all this shit?" I hate it. I'm sorry, it's just not my era. I don't get it. Give me Bruce Lee, not a fucking Ninja Turtle. I want Bruce Lee with a pair of nunchucks, not a turtle.
But Turtles was the biggest selling thing of the 90s, man. It was massively nostalgic. And I think it was more the 4-player cab that you could play. I used to think it was brilliant that you'd go and play a cab with 3 other players who you didn't even fucking know from Adam, and you'd just play a game together.
Well, do you know what? The 4 Quarters arcade in Peckham Rye, they all say to me, I say, well, how's Asteroids doing? You know, how's Space Invaders? How's Pac-Man? No one plays them. Well, what are they playing? Turtles, Simpsons. Are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, that's all they play. They come in, they play the shooting games, you know, the fucking, I don't know what they are, Point Blank, all that crap.
Light gun games.
Fucking Simpsons and Turtles. It's like, what? So they got rid of all the classics and pulled that shit in. I said, I ain't coming up here again, mate. There's nothing in it for me. But it is. The kids love it. The kids absolutely love it. I don't see with the run right and fight beat 'em ups. They bore me. They bore me now. There's a few.
Didn't you buy the belt fucking? What's it called on the Switch though?
What?
You bought that collector's set though, didn't you?
Oh, the Capcom belt collection.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's a few on there. I was going to say there is a few exceptions. I do.
I fucking got you there, didn't I?
I do love Dungeons and Dragons because I'm a big Dungeons and Dragons fan. I love the way the branching paths go, and you can there's a little bit of RPG elements going on, right? Alien versus Predator. I've got the fucking original CPS1 board up there. It's boring. It's all right 2-player, but it's boring after a while. Streets of Rage is good. I do like Streets of Rage. Cadillacs and Dinosaurs is a good one. There's only a few I like, really. Sorry, what was the question? I've drifted right off here.
90s, your favourite not 90s arcade machine?
Arcade machine.
Well, arcade game, sorry.
That's a difficult one because I don't really know any. What about F-Zero? AX, is it AX? The F-Zero.
Was that 90s?
Huh?
Was that 90s still?
Yeah, it's got to be 90s, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know.
I'm not sure. I'm an 80s guy. It's difficult.
Well, here's a question that's more up your street then. Is Alex as ancient? This is Antarpa, Retro Games Collector. Is Alex as ancient as me? Does he remember playing electro-mechanical stuff like Jet Bomber and Killer Shark?
Yes, I do, mate. I do, very fondly. I remember going on holiday with my parents. I can't remember where. Actually, you're probably Cornwall or Dorset. We used to go down there quite a lot. West Bay. And I remember going, my dad would let me into the arcade. And I remember lots of those kind of games. And fond memories of playing a lot of those games. Very early, like Night Driver. Very basic driving games. Yeah, I do. I have fond memories of them. I wouldn't collect them now because there's not a lot of replay value in them. As you know, I did go down that route slightly because I did pick up a couple of really rare Nintendo Battle Sharks. Now these were
I've got
huge.
that. I've got
Huge
that on my
machines.
notes here.
Oh,
About,
yeah.
yeah.
Do you want me to bring? Do you want to bring it up in another question, or
No, that's fine. I just got a note of some of like you noted that you'd picked up a couple of rare, ultra rare Nintendo systems, and one was Battle Shark and one was
so you could
Space Launcher.
Yes, you could class these two machines as electrical mechanical, although they were running the 16mm movie. And I found these machines in a army base in East Germany. So when the Americans were based out in Germany, they had their little base and they had a little arcade there. And these games were left there for 40 years. And they turned up, someone offered them to me, and I brought two. And I imported them over. And I've actually done a few videos on that, actually, if you go back and look at my channel, where we tried to get them working. Unfortunately, I didn't have the test film, the test film, which basically calibrates the gun with the movie. So you couldn't play it. It was missing. So it rendered the game useless, really. You couldn't play it, which is really unfortunate. So I had these huge fucking megalithic fucking arcade machines in my mate's house. I didn't even have them in my own place. They were in my mate's house. And in the end, I had to get rid of them. And I got sold them for like 100 quid or something. But they were electrical mechanical games by Nintendo. Really rare. It would have been great to get them going, but unfortunately, it's just that little bit before my time, really. For me, Space Invaders is where it's all started, you know, and that's why that's in this collection. For me, that's when video games started, not the electrical mechanical games. I was aware of them as I was a kid, but I wasn't passionate about them. You know, they didn't fucking demand long queues, you know, to play them. They were just there in the background. They was always there. But when Space Invaders turned up, that was it, man. That changed everything. That game. It was such a cool game.
One of the things I remember of like when I was in a toddler, like still in my mum and dad's hands and like being held to walk around, I was scared of the monster on the side of the Space Invaders machine as a like little 2-3-year-old sort of thing. And that always, but the best thing is I've got a little blooming monument to it up there that I had made. And it's all, I was talking to Stu about this the other day. A lot of the things I was scared of as a kid, I love now. Like I love Space Invaders, but as a child, that monster on the side of the screen, like the artwork, used to terrorize me as a little child.
That Space Invaders cabinet is the most iconic cabinet ever made. It's got the best artwork on it. Right, arguably the game's hasn't got that much appeal today. I still love it. It dominates the fucking room. The sound, you got to play it on an original machine. The sound is unbelievable. It gets a heart rate going. It's that thud, 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 thud. I love the artwork. And do you know, someone told me this, that you know the Space Invader, that kind of weird creature on the side, was from Forbidden Planet. Do you remember the film Forbidden Planet? It's a 1950s film, black and white film with a robot that talked. Do you remember that?
I vaguely remember it, but I don't remember that creature or anything like that.
Well, it was an alien in it, and he hit the electric fence. And the guy that based that character on that thing in the film, which I didn't know until recently, because you don't see the alien in the film until he hits the electric fence, and he all kind of sort of electrified. And that's based on that Forbidden Planet.
Yeah, because it's almost like a silhouette in it.
He's sort of electrified. Creature. Yeah. I mean, when we're kids, I mean, I've fond memories, vivid memories of playing it at Feltham Swimming Baths in London. We queued up. I remember queuing up. I had a couple of 10p's, put the 10p in, and I was just absolutely blown away. I only lasted probably 30 seconds and died. And then we couldn't work out because it's got that half mirror. When you look into it, you couldn't see the monitor down there because you were so small then. You were only a kid. You couldn't work out the depth of it. It was like a magic box. So not only the game was different, the whole experience was a new thing. We'd never seen anything like it, you know. And you can't explain that to kids today because they've got video games on tap. But to just kind of describe to them, you know, what was your first experience of a video game? Well, that was it, Space Invaders, and we were fucking blown away. I mean, kids were queuing up out the door to play that game. You know, that was the rage for it. It was incredible. Fond memories.
It's all like when anything becomes the first, like I imagine like people like who used to talk about the first car being invented being magnificent. It's when it's something like the first of its kind, you
Yeah.
can't explain to anyone after when it becomes like you say, like now the car's a household thing, like everyone owns one. It's not spectacular or
Yeah.
special. Now everyone owns tons of games, not just as collectors. Your average person probably owns 5 to 6 video games at any one point. So
Yeah.
it's a household item now, and that's kind of how it became when arcades first come about, sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got a question from the Retro Bear. This is a good one. What technically is the most impressive arcade game you've ever played?
Impressively the most impressive arcade game I've ever
Technically
played.
the most impressive.
At the time was Atari's iRobot. Probably not a game a lot of you have heard of. I was lucky enough to have it at my local arcade in Twickenham where I grew up. It was way ahead of its time. It was one of the first games that had polygon graphics. If you haven't checked it out, I totally recommend checking it out. It is still a very good game to play. Yeah, it was way ahead of its time, and I love it today. And I've got so many stories about iRobot. It's unbelievable. You know, my good friend Alpha One I was talking about earlier, I'd like to share a house with. Well, me and him went to pick one up in Acton, which is really only 5 miles up the road from Twickenham. And I reckon, because Atari only made about 500 of these, I reckon it was the same one that I played in Twickenham. He brought it. He said to me, Al, are you ready tonight? Are you up for us picking up an arcade machine? I said, what is it? He said, it's a surprise. So we turned up at this bloke's house. Well, this estate was unbelievable. Most of the houses were boarded up. Most of the houses everyone had moved out, except for this one house. This one house where we were going to pick this arcade machine up, people were still living in it. I said, are you fucking joking? He said, no. So we went up these stairs, dark stairs on this council estate, knocked on the door, and this bloke answered, ponytail, bald head with a ponytail at the back, really skinny, like fucking, like, who's this? You know, we walked in, we were invited into his house, and there we were invited into this bedroom where his mum and dad, this was like out of a scene out of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. His mum and dad were in bed, and there were fucking 3 defenders down the side of the wall, and there was this iRobot. And I looked at fucking Ollie, and this is how the other half live, at the end of the spectrum, the really poor people, right? This fucking flat was grim. It was so grim. And we were here to pick up an iRobot, and Ollie had paid £2,500 for it, which is a cheap for an iRobot. They go for like £8,000 now. They're so rare, so desirable. And I couldn't believe it. I said, Ollie, this is the fucking same game that I used to play as a kid. The exact same one. It has to be. It has to be. They only made 500 of them. You know, what are the chances of that, you know? And here we are trying to get this fucking arcade machine out of this bedroom. And his mum and dad are in bed. Stop. It won't be a minute. Just getting this machine out. And there's a video. It's on one. I can't remember what video it is, but I actually included it in one of my videos on my channel where we're getting it down the stairs. And we've literally got like millimeters to get this machine round this fucking stairs on his council estate. It was unbelievable. But that game was the most impressive game I ever played back in the day. And I'd love to have it in my collection, but the prices for them, and they're so rare. Actually, Ollie has 2 of them. And I've been on about him for ages. Will you sell me one? And he fucking won't. He won't fucking sell one, the bastard.
Hoarding the good stuff, is he?
Yeah, he fucking does.
Champion 2D Rob, since you collect for the Switch, do you struggle with the constant need to pre-order for fear of paying more later?
Yeah, I do. I find the pre-order thing, because it takes so long, Rob, doesn't it? You know, I'm still waiting. I've got about 4 games that I pre-ordered last spring. So I've got the Space Invaders box set, the Taito Space Invaders box set. And it ain't just Space Invaders. It's got the DS. It's got Space Invaders Extreme, Space Invaders Extreme 2. It's got all the really good Space Invaders games on it. I'm still waiting for that. I've got the Turrican box set I'm still waiting for. And what was the other one? I've got another one I'm waiting for as well. It just seems to take forever, you know, and they've got a lot of my money. A lot of my money. Those box sets are not cheap. And you do, you know, you just trust them with your own money, man. I don't like that, really. I'd like to pay my money and then get it the week after. So yeah, I've kind of backed off a little bit from pre-ordering at the moment, because I mean I don't have a lot of money at the moment anyway, not like I used to, because I haven't been working for so long. So you know that's taken a back seat for a while.
Right. Hopefully that answers your question. I've just been reading a comment from Cine Steve about him and Retro Dave. They may go down in your estimations when I read this story.
Right.
Me and Retro Dave, we was playing Simpsons up Arcade Club a while back, and some girl and her fella, you should have seen their face when we got to the bonus stage, and we were pumping the balloon up. Dave went for it.
What?
So like obviously with the bonus stage, you had to prop a button bashed on you to pump up the balloon. So you can imagine Steve and Dave were ultimately competitive at that, I imagine. So that's two of you UK VAC boys who like Simpsons.
Yeah, well, fucking Simpsons, man. I fucking hate that game.
Interesting question from Darren McGowan for Alex. If you had the chance to work with an old school game designer to make a new old game, what would it be? Who would it be? Sorry, i.e., Eugene Jarvis, Ed Logg, etc.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, Eugene Jarvis would be a great one. I'd like him to make another Defender. One without all the lag, because I do love Defender. It's become one of my favourite games of all time since I've owned the cabinet. Because we didn't have the money back in the day to get good at it, and now I own the cab. I'm not good at it, but I've got a respectable score, I suppose. But I'd like to see, but you can see where they could have improved on it. So you know, there's a bit of lag in there, a bit of slowdown. So yeah, it would have been. All right, they did Stargate, but there's still a bit of slowdown in that. And Stargate's not great. So, yeah, Defender 3 would be good to make with Eugene Jarvis. Chris Oberth would be a good one to work with. He made Antietam Rescue, a few of those old school games, Tasmania. Who else? Miyamoto, of course. Shigeru Miyamoto. He's got to be the best game designer of all time, isn't he? You know?
Yeah, I'd say so. Is he the guy who did Pac-Man? Did he do Pac-Man?
Pac-Man.
What's it called? I've got a question. Interesting one from Sega Saturn Lad. Question for Alex. Did you get the acknowledgement from Nintendo Japan or Europe over the Sky Skipper story?
Acknowledgement? No, it was really, we dealt with Nintendo of America.
I'm going to devastate you. Your name's not on the Wikipedia page because I had a read earlier.
Sorry, Dana, what was that?
Yours or Whitney's names aren't on the Wikipedia page when it comes to discovering the board or nothing.
Oh, are they?
It just says two enthusiasts.
That gets changed all the time. Wikipedia, it's a load of bollocks. Wikipedia.
No, I just had a look because I was just interested. Yeah. Like, cause obviously, I was going through the story. It just mentions you got Billy Mitchell involved to speak to Nintendo, obviously. So back to Scott's question.
No, we didn't get any acknowledgement from Japan, but in a way, they did help. Well, no, they didn't really. It was Don James, really. Don James is the chief executive of Nintendo of America. So he was the guy that we and Whitney dealt with. He was the guy that allowed us into Nintendo's vaults to scan Sky Skipper, the only remaining machine left in the world, which he had a soft spot for. That's why he kept hold of it. And that was his decision, not Nintendo of Japan. When Factor 5, I think I told this story on my last video, Factor 5 were making Star Wars Rogue Squadron. Their offices were right next to Nintendo of America, and they were getting on very well with Don James, and they wanted to hold a party, and the guy that runs that company, Factor 5, wanted to borrow Sky Skipper. Obviously knew about it. And Don James said, well, you better get Road Squadron out the N64 first before you borrow that. So he had a deadline to get that game out on time. So they got the game out on time, and then Don James said, right, you can borrow Sky Skipper. They lent him the machine and it didn't work. So what they had to do was send the board back to Japan and rewrite the ROMs and get the game working, and it came back, and then they this was all in Retro Gamer a couple of years ago. A fascinating story that actually was held back for quite a long time because we were told not to say anything, which is really weird. But Nintendo Japan are not really interested in a lot of their really old stuff, partly because it's a little bit iffy, because a lot of the really old Nintendo games were not programmed by Nintendo. They were programmed by a company called Ikegami. So every Nintendo game up to Donkey Kong Jr. was made by a company called Ikegami. Everything past Donkey Kong Jr. was made Nintendo in-house. So Sky Skipper, Sheriff, Space Firebird, all those games were programmed, coded by Ikegami. So it's difficult for them to put them on modern platforms when they're not quite sure where royalties go to. So Nintendo kind of just forget about all that shit. But Don James managed to put it on the Nintendo Switch, and that was really down to us, really, with that whole project.
I was just about to say, was it 2018 he got released on the Switch, was it?
That's right. Shortly after we did the reveal, which was amazing. And he said to Whitney Roberts, met him twice, he said he was going to release it on the Switch due to all of the kind of interest that we kind of welled up with the game.
So how many Sky Skipper machines are there actually now? Because you've got one, haven't you?
Yeah, so my machine is it was originally a Versus cabinet, so it would have played a Versus game. So I converted my Versus into a Sky Skipper with the artwork that we vectorized from the original arcade game.
Is yours the one that gets unveiled in America, or is that Whitney's and yours is the one that gets...
So Whitney has one and I have one, and the original one is in the vaults in Nintendo of America. So there's 3.
Right.
But since we've done the reveal, 12 other boards have turned up, and Whitney had to go back to Nintendo of America and ask Don James if they could recreate the cab as well, and he agreed yes, as long as they don't make any money out of it. So the 12 people that came forward with original board sets will get an original kit, and a kit that we've made. So they'll be able to make Sky Skippers as well. So there'll be, by the end of next year, there may be 12 Sky Skipper cabinets like mine in the world.
I did have a little question that I wrote down. I'm not going to bother getting it up. I'll just ask it. Yeah. Is there any other games out there, like Lost Arcade games, that you know about that could be brought back similar to Sky Skipper? Is there anything else out there that you know of?
Not Nintendo. There's a couple of Williams games, definitely. I know someone that's working on a Williams game, but of course it doesn't. Williams are not going anymore, so they don't hold that kind of value like Nintendo does. Nintendo fans are something different, right? There's not many Williams fans around. Well, there are, but there's not as many as Nintendo fans like today, right? So when a new Nintendo game comes out or a lost Nintendo game is found, there's a lot of interest. So when another company, and I'm all up for it, whenever someone finds a new game. In fact, I know Cine Steve has a cocktail machine of a game that is not even in MAME. So he's got something really unique. But not many people are interested in it because it's not from a famous manufacturer or whatever. But from a historical point of view, it's still very interesting to see games appearing,
As you say, because it's not Nintendo, it's not like Nintendo still going. Even Sega, who've got a recent history, there's not that much tie, but it is great if something can be recreated and played on that's not around anymore. That would be my novelty for it, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I focused. That was the whole point of me starting YouTube. Really, was putting videos up of machines that had no airtime whatsoever. I mean, there were no videos of Sheriff, there were no videos of Space Firebird, and I just thought, because I searched them when I got the machine, I went on YouTube, typed in Nintendo Sheriff, and there was nothing. So I just uploaded a video of Nintendo Sheriff, uploaded a video of Space Launcher, and all these really obscure early Nintendo games, and I was one of the first people to do it, really. And then a lot of the Americans, they didn't even know about a lot of these games. They still don't. And so that whipped up a lot of interest, really. And I just went down a rabbit hole of kind of like researching really early Nintendo games. And that led me down the Sky Skipper route, really. And I was just totally focused on trying to find this game, really. But I needed the help stateside, America, to help me finish the project. I found the PCB, I reverse engineered it, but I needed someone in America to take it that step further. Originally, I approached John Jacobson from John's Arcade. He showed a bit of interest to begin with, but then he opted out. And then I found Whitney Roberts, and he became a great partner, and now we've become great friends, really, through it, really. And, you know, he was the best man for the job.
I watched John's Arcade's video today, as I told you. Anyone who's not familiar with the Sky Skipper story and Alex's story, you've got a playlist, because I believe Pinball Dave, as I call him now, he done a couple of videos when you were doing unveilings. It's all on a playlist on Alex's channel. Alex's channel will be linked in the description later. So if you want to go along, it's a really, really interesting story. And I find it more interesting because I know you as a person, if you know what I mean, Alex. And I just found it a really interesting watch today. So I can't recommend anyone enough to go and watch that playlist on the whole Sky Skipper journey. And your webpage is still up, skyskipperproject.com.
Yeah, it's a great. Go to our website, skyskipperproject.com. It's got the whole history of this unreleased Nintendo game, which is basically what it was. So
I like the little bullet point thing that's like the timeline. That's really interesting. That's on one of the drop downs. I looked at that earlier. Like the history of the game and finding the PCBs and all that's documented there.
Yeah, I mean it's fascinating, really. I mean, this game would still be in the vault if it wasn't for me and Whitney, which is unbelievable. And that is really just through the passion and the love of the hobby. You know, it could have happened to anyone, really, but just through an interest in the hobby and a company and their past history, that really the whole story unfolded as we went along. We never knew where we was going to end up. Never knew we'd get Billy Mitchell involved. Never thought we'd get John Jacobson. Never, ever, in our wildest dreams, thought we'd be in the vaults of Nintendo. You know, it just unfolded as we went along. It was just incredible time. The best time, really, for me. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, I've never been to America before either. So for me, just stepping onto America's land, I've always dreamt of going to America, but to go there in a hobby that I love and meet people that I love was just something else. It really was a fantastic time. Never forget it. And also the reveal at the arcade club when, you know, all my subscribers came, UK VAT came, and that was great support. Just seeing it. It was a party, man. That was such a cool party. Such a great night. It really was.
Brilliant. Moving on to a question from Stu, 2 to UK. What's Alex's take on pinballs? I love watching the repair/GP videos that Dave and Andy do in the UK, for example. So just your opinions on pinballs.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with pinballs for me, I never played them back in the day. So I've got no nostalgia for them. I remember them being around, but they were never like video games were like groundbreaking. You know, the technology was constantly evolving. It was always something new on the scene. Video games were constantly evolving and something new, and just kept us kids, the punters, back in the arcade time after time after time. With pinball, for me, it was just the same old, same old. But I appreciate now that pinball is another level, completely another level. For me, I would love a pinball. I really would love a pinball, but for the the ones that I want. I'd love an Iron Maiden. You've got to have a pinball with a theme that you love, right? So I'd love an Iron Maiden. A Jurassic Park would be cool. Or a Total Nuclear Annihilation. I'd love that pinball. But to sacrifice one of my vids for a pinball would be hard, man. That would be hard. I mean, I've literally, in the 9 months that I've had this broken arm and been in this room, I've literally spent every minute mapping out where each machine's going to go and what I've got room for. And there ain't no fucking room for a pinball machine.
Brilliant. I mean, I remember watching, I think Dave did a mod. He put a helicopter, like a little add-on to one of his pinball machines. And when he lifted it up, I was like, someone who's just played a pinball machine and you've only ever seen that top view and you see all those wires and everything running underneath, I'm just thinking, fuck me, there looks so much that could go wrong there and you've got to troubleshoot.
Inside of a body, isn't it?
Yeah. But more respect to Dave. More respect to Dave with like all the mods and stuff he's doing. He knows his stuff, but it looks
Dave I talk to every week. You know, Dave's one of my best friends, and I talk to Dave every week. And I love his enthusiasm for the hobby. And I love the way. This is the thing, right? You can do whatever you fucking want to do. You can sell shit, buy shit, move shit on. I do it all the time. You know, you may have nostalgia about the game. You play it for a bit and think, okay, I've had enough of that now. I'll move it on. But you're still in the hobby. You're still buying games. You just want something new, right? And Dave's doing that all the time. The thing is with Dave, he'll fucking hammer a game. He'll become an expert at a game. And once you've hammered that game and you can't get any further, it's like, what's the point of having it? I feel exactly the same. I've done that with Astra Blaster, Sega Astra Blaster. Brilliant game. Love it. Superb game. But I can't get any further with it. So I want something new. I want something fresh. And it's nice to keep the arcade moving and fresh. New games coming in, old ones going out, you know. But I just wish Dave had kept half of his room to arcades because, you know, that's what I love and that's our common ground that we talk about, you know. Whereas I'm not so much into pinballs. We still chat to each other and we still be best friends, but I just wish he'd kept a few arcade games that we have that common ground with that we can talk about with each other. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Dave's a great chap. I think it was last week or the week before. I don't want to do any spoilers, but I've had a couple of pickups off Dave. He's coming on the channel as well in a couple of weeks' time. Not next week, the week after. So we'll be talking plenty of pinballs then. One of the most nicest, genuine people I've ever met. And
he's lovely.
Such a nice guy. And I could say that about everyone because, you know, there's not many bad people I've met since doing this. But Dave is like, someone asked me about pinballs the other day in a WhatsApp group. And I just said to him, go and check out Dave's channel. Dave's into pinballs. And Dave sent me a message saying, oh, you've sent someone over to my channel. He's been watching, blah, blah, blah. And I said, yeah, well, he asked about pinballs and you was the first person who come to mind. And I know you'd like sort him out, whatever he wanted to know sort of thing.
Yeah, Dave's a top bloke. You know, I love Dave. You know, this is what's great about YouTube, isn't it? I've met so many great friends through this channel. Dave, Cine Steve's another top bloke that I talk to.
Did you know Cine Steve was in First Blood?
First Blood?
Yeah, he's one of the police officers at the beginning. Next time you watch First Blood, you won't not be able to unsee Cine Steve.
Scott's another top bloke. I love Scott. You know,
I've had a parcel today off Scott as well for my next pickups video as well.
He's so passionate about I just love his passion, man, for the hobby. It's fucking brilliant. I love it.
It's nice to see that he's got some Nintendo in that room as well now, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, you know, that's a Trojan horse, his partner. She's a Trojan horse, mate. She's coming in. That's going to be fucking Nintendo Arcade before you know it, mate.
Nintendo Zombie. Moving on to the next question, I've got a few, but we're not going to rush through them. We'll go as long as we can. From Gernaldinho, for Alex, was there a period in time you stopped going to arcades because they weren't the same? So, like, almost like when you fell out of love with the arcades? Like,
yeah, good question. And hello, mate. How you doing? Yes, remember it fondly. Street Fighter when Street Fighter came into the arcades, I really felt a bit of an older generation because they were new kids on the block and they were shit out of this game. And I remember playing it. I thought, I'm fucking good at games. I've been in the arcades longer than you. And they whipped my ass. They whipped my fucking ass. I thought, fuck this, man. I'm out of here. So, do you know what I did? And I'll never forget it. I remember waiting for a bus in Richmond High Street, and I saw a Super Nintendo for sale, and it had Street Fighter. I thought, fuck me. That's that game that I got whipped in the fucking arcade. I'm going to fucking have that. So I went out, saved up with money, bought a Super Nintendo, and went home and played Street Fighter on the Super Nintendo and loved it. Loved it. And me and my brother, fuck me, we played that non-stop, man. Street Fighter, Super Tennis, and Mario Kart. Like those 3 games, the best 2-player games ever. But yeah, that was the point where actually I didn't go down the arcades anymore. It was like Super Nintendo. For the first time, a home console could recreate what you were playing down the arcade, if not better, really. I remember, it's like, you don't need to go down the arcade anymore. It's it. We've got it all here, you know? Street Fighter on Super Nintendo. That's all you need, man. And it's still my preferred way of playing Street Fighter on the Super Nintendo.
Is that because you feel the D-pad is better than a joystick to play?
Yeah, it's just what I'm used to, I guess. You know, if I play Street Fighter on a candy cab with these guys that have got candy cabs, I can get my ass whipped, and there's bad memories of back in the day, man. I don't want it.
Brings it all back. Is it like shell shock? Is it, Tid? You start shaking in the corner if you get your ass whipped at Street Fighter 2. Interesting question from Raz. How's your Swedish? Do you still understand it? Give us a sentence.
Jag vill slicka dig.
I don't know what that is.
It means I want. No, I'm not going to say it.
Please tell me. I hope it's something offensive.
No, I'll let Raz repeat it.
Okay. Fucking Raz can't talk English. From Matthew Kieran Poulter. For Alex, what arcade cab would you borrow from Alpha One / Ollie? So I'm guessing it's iRobot.
iRobot, mate. Yeah, iRobot. Also, I'd like Disatron, the environmental cab. Do you remember Disatron, Dana?
What year did that come out?
Well, you had Tron. You remember Tron, that iconic cabinet?
Yes.
You also had a game called Disatron, which is the game I actually prefer. And it came in what we call an E-Dot, which is an environmental cabinet. So you sat in it and had all these blue neon lights, and it's just totally immersive arcade machine, and a really cool game. I'd love to borrow that. That would be really cool. But yeah, iRobot, top of the list. I'd love to have. In fact, he actually has said I could borrow one of his iRobots. So maybe one day you'll see an iRobot in this arcade, which would be cool.
Awesome. We're moving on to the Vectrex. We've got a question about the Vectrex. Where did you score the neon speakers hooked up to your Vectrex? That's from Oscar Del Monte.
Oh, I was pretty lucky with that, really. So I'll tell you the story. My partner is great at finding really cool stuff. I said, well, I need some speakers. She said, well, and I showed her some speakers I was thinking of getting. She said, they're really boring. You can get something really cool. She's really cool at finding really cool stuff, right? No, you don't want that. You want this. I'm like, fucking hell, you're right. That is cool. So, and we're both really into neon. We love neon. You know, there's a lovely neon shop down in Brighton. We could spend a fortune down there. I'm going to have loads of neon in here. So she found these neon speakers on eBay. And the guy wanted 400 quid for them. And she said, put an offer in. So I put an offer in at 100 quid. And then she put an offer in at 200 quid. And she won them. And then the guy messaged me. He said, I found a whole container full of NOS neon stuff from the 80s. So neon clocks, neon telephones, and neon fucking speakers, Nos, in a box in Spain. He said, how many do you want? So I said to all my mates, look, I'm buying these speakers, do you want any? And none of them said, no, not for that price, too much. And I thought, well, fuck you then, I'm going to have them. So I went down and met the guy. It was in North London. He was a bit of a weirdo, really. Spanish bloke, didn't speak much English. Anyway, these were Nos in the box. I've still got the boxes upstairs. And I bought one pair. I wish I bought two pairs now, because they are the best thing I've ever bought. They're absolutely stunning. Can you see them, guys?
I mean, with the Vectrex in the middle with the UV light on it, it just looks brilliant, man.
It does, yeah. And since I've had them, loads of people have said to me, where can I get those from? Even my mates that offered to them originally said, oh man, I wish I bought them now. I said, well, why didn't you then? Because the guy had like fucking 10 boxes of them.
You could have gone cheaper as well if you bought them in bulk. Because you've got that argument that you're buying in bulk there.
Well, you've just found them in a container, like you do, right? And I've messaged him recently if there's any more. He ain't got any more. So that's it. If they go, that's it. I'll be gutted if they break. But I love them to bits, man. 200 quid. They sound amazing. They look fucking amazing. And, yeah.
I always have the running joke with you when you upload a Vectrex video, whether it's going to cost me any money or not watching it.
Yeah. The Vectrex is a fucking rabbit hole, mate, honestly. I don't know if you're on the Vectrex Facebook Unite.
Yeah, I'm on there. That costs me money regular.
Constantly. I just bought a load of overlays for the Vectrex. In fact, I need to do a video of that.
I need some more new UV ones. I bought a load of the original ones, though, off a guy in Belgium. He was really sound, and he said it's a bit battered, but it's Space Wars, and he sent me the box for it to send the overlays, and he said you can just have that for free. So if I ever get a copy of the game, I've got it complete now.
Well, I'm glad you've got the Vectrex, because there is going to be something which is in development at the moment, which will be, you'll be able to play all the games that I'm playing on the Vect Fever cart soon. So just hang on in there, and you'll be able to play all the Vector arcade games, which turns this Vectrex into something else.
Did you see recently there was a guy selling a load of Vectrex stuff on eBay? He's not in the Vectrex group. But I missed out on a few bits of him. He was also selling a Virtual Boy, but he was selling a Vex Fever cart, and you never see many of them come up and stuff like that.
A Vex Fever cart went on eBay last time for 1,500 quid.
He literally, what else? Because I bought some. I'm going to show a spoiler here, but I don't even know what it is. So I literally bid on everything. And I got this cart. I think it's for putting your own games on. Where is it?
Oh, yeah.
I got that really cheap off him. I don't know if I'll ever fucking use it, but I was watching loads of stuff. It just all, because like I randomly just searched Vectrex overlays because I'm looking to get a set of the overlays.
Have you got Vector Pilot and Vector
No,
Control?
he was selling a copy of that. That's what I'm getting mixed up with Vect Fever. He was selling Vector Pilot.
Well, they're the games you want, mate. Those 3 games are awesome. Fucking amazing games. Vector Pilot and Vector Patrol. Get those 2 games, man. Awesome.
That's it. Alex cost me some more money. We got a question from Stu. How many hours research did Alex do? I'm guessing this is for Sky Skipper. Was it 50 plus? If so, you need to do a Patreon.
What? How many hours of research did Alex do?
That's for Sky Skipper. Actually, when I was watching that today, Walter Day had actually praised you and Whitney to say how much research, and he compared you to oh god, what's them guys, paleontologists who dig up dinosaurs, saying that he actually says that, Walter Day, on the stage when he's talking to Billy Mitchell, saying that like you'd done the groundwork to like dig out these old games, sort of thing. Like,
well, we did a lot of research. I don't know how many hours we did, Stu, but I mean, we did a lot of research. I mean, I did. I know in the beginning I did. We didn't have any artwork. There wasn't even a picture of the cabinet. We had nothing. All there was, if you search the internet, if you typed in Sky Skipper and search the internet, you know, before we did all this, all you'd find is a marquee, and that's it. There was no bezel, control panel, side art, not even a picture of the cabinet. Nothing whatsoever. And then suddenly, you know, we set the ball rolling. People came up with, and I've still got it today somewhere up in the loft. I won't go up there. I've got an American, a Japanese advertisement arcade magazine, and there's a picture of Sky Skipper in there of the actual cabinet, and we were going to use that, and so we were going to try and make some sort of picture out of that to use as a side art. You know, we were just trying to grab bits here and there to try and create this cabinet, and it wasn't really until I got Whitney involved, and he met Billy Mitchell, and he said that he'd played it. He remembered playing it back in the day, and he could get us in contact with Nintendo. That things changed, but yeah, there was a lot of research. There was a lot of to and froing. The most interesting thing that we don't talk about probably was when Whitney went into NOA. There's a lobby, and I've still got the pictures, and I haven't posted them because I can't. He took pictures of a F-Zero arcade cabinet. He took pictures of a radar scope cockpit arcade machine, which is uber rare. It was kind of like a historical museum for Nintendo that they didn't want pictures taken of. And Whitney took loads of pictures and he posted them on our website. And within minutes, Don James sent an email to Whitney saying, in capital letters, take down those pictures now. Right? And fucking hell, Whitney messaged me straight away. He said, fucking hell, they must have people watching us the whole fucking time, what we're posting. Because Don James wouldn't have been looking at that. There've been other Nintendo people watching what we're doing. So Whitney had to take down the pictures of what he'd taken in the lobby down. So we were never able to post them. They're still not, you still can't find them on the internet, luckily enough, as we've been in deep shit. And we had to go fucking begging to Don James saying, we're really sorry, it won't happen again. I didn't realise you didn't want those pictures taken and shown on our website. So that was the dodgiest time we'd had with Nintendo. And Whitney had to go back grovelling to Don James saying, look, I'm really sorry about that. It was a misunderstanding. They're really funny about shit like that. But as far as
they're a bit like the mafia sort of thing, aren't they?
Yeah, well, I think what it is, mate, is people take advantage, you know, and we've witnessed it. So when we did the Sky Skipper project, a few people come on board that came forward with original board sets, and we gave them the opportunity to buy the kit, the art package, and they were impatient. They didn't want to hang around. They wanted it now. So what did they do? They fucking they got into our group, took the art package, and then did it their own way, right? So basically, they fucking stole all the hard work we've been doing. And Nintendo must get that all the time. They must get people with good intentions coming in saying, oh, yeah, we'll do this, that, and the other, and then fucking stealing everything from them all the fucking time. So we weren't having none of it, man. We weren't having none of it. We were going to stay true to Nintendo. We were going to promise them we're going to fulfill what they said we would do, and we did it. And I'm really proud of that, because a lot of people said, oh, you're going to mass produce this, you're going to make loads of money out of it. Well, we didn't. We said what Nintendo told us to do, make 12 kits, and that's it, finished, done. No one else, if anyone else comes forward with any more PCBs, that's it, you're not getting a kit, you've had your time, done. You know, we're doing what Nintendo told us to do. You know, sorry.
No, it's good, man. It's interesting to hear, especially something that we've not heard before, especially on the Sky Skipper. So, see, I kind of understand Nintendo in a way if you like an outsider coming in, taking pictures of something that's new and a current product, but taking pictures of those old arcade cabs, you know, it's old technology anyway. It would have been stole 20 years ago if it was going to be stole, sort of thing.
I know, but you have to respect the company. You have to respect that they've invited us into.
Oh, I totally get that side of stuff. But what I'm saying is the pictures as themselves are
yeah.
harmless pictures, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, I totally get that. But you know, every employee at Nintendo has to sign a contract saying that everything you see, you can't take pictures of, can't get out, and that creates an environment for the employees that's something special. And I think if you're an employee of a Nintendo company, which we'd all love to be, would be something special, something to be proud of. In fact, the best companies in the world keep their secrets to themselves, and they become something really special. If everyone knew about what they were doing, then it wouldn't be that special, would it? Right?
Yeah, no, I totally get that. Interesting question away from gaming, I suppose. Question for Vo from Lapdog Millionaire, who I have to apologise for. In a previous video, I didn't think you were a real user, but he clearly is because he's commented before. What's your best and worst experience of being on YouTube? I'll let you go first, Alex, being as you're the guest.
My best and worst experience being on YouTube. I don't have a worst experience. I've enjoyed my whole time on YouTube, really. I think the community is fantastic, and that's what I do it for. The community. It's not like I seek a massive circle of friends, but I enjoy the community and the knowledge that they give me. They're constantly correcting me on shit, which I love, and so my knowledge of games grows bigger. The worst experience is probably my own fault, really. My own shitty videos I put up. I do put some shit videos up, and I do wonder why people like it sometimes.
Egg and a mess. Everyone loves egg and a mess. That is your best video ever. Brilliant. What's it called? I was scrolling through like our conversation, like one of the last time we spoke, and there's a picture of me. I'd cooked egg and a mess and sent you a picture of it, I think.
Would you know where that come from?
No.
That came from, if you're a 90s kid, you'll remember this. Do you remember the word?
See, the word was too grown up for me a bit in the 90s.
You don't remember the word?
I remember it, but I wouldn't have watched it. It was early 90s, wasn't it? I'd have been more into
early 90s, so you go down the pub, you get back from the pub, you put a TV on Channel 4, and you get the word, right? You get Terry Christian interviewing fucking Frank Bruno and fucking Mark Ullman from Soft Cell. And do you remember that rumour that was going around school about Mark Ullman swallowing a pint of spunk, dog spunk, right? Well, Terry Christian actually brought that up in an interview on the word. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? Right? So here's Terry Christian asking Mark Ullman in front of Frank Bruno, what was that rumour going around school, Mark, about fucking you swallowing a pint of dog spunk? And the Mark Ullman's going, don't you fucking dare bring that up. I'll get Frank Bruno onto you. Right? Right? And then 5 minutes later, Nirvana came on and started smashing the whole fucking scene up. It was the best fucking program ever. And then following that, you had Get Stuffed. Get Stuffed. So back in the day in the 90s, you had no money, you were a student or you were working, you had fuck all money, and you had nothing in the cupboards, no food, no nothing. And this was a great program, Get Stuffed, right? You had a loaf of bread, you had an egg. What do you do with it? You make fucking egg in a mess. You get a fucking slice of bread, you stick it in a frying pan, put an egg in it, egg in a mess, bit of brown sauce, Worcester sauce, salt and pepper, white pepper, it's got to be white pepper, and then fucking you've made a meal. It was great. It was great fucking TV, man. You don't get TV like that anymore. Fucking Terry Christian going on to Mark Ullman. What is that rumour about fucking dog spunk?
They'd be too scared to ask that question now.
It was going around school that fucking Mark Ullman swallowed a pint of dog spunk. It was gross. And he brought it up on TV. Man, so if you actually great.
If you actually want to see a retro chef on YouTube, go and check out Alex Egg and a Mess's video. You could start a spin-off, student food or something. I'll answer Lapdog Millionaires. My best experience on YouTube has to be these streams because I'll be honest, before I was just doing run of the mill, my pickup videos. I'd do event tours, and then just one day I started doing these streams, and they've grew organically, and I really enjoy doing them. So the best thing by a mile is starting these streams for me. Worst experience was probably winning YouTuber of the Month last year, and enough said on that as possible.
Mate, I got nominated for that, and I didn't want to be part of it at all. I really didn't.
It's going to be better this year now. Old Scotty boy's in charge.
Oh, definitely. Sure. Dana, mate, you're a top bloke. You really are, mate. I fucking love your channel. It's brilliant. I fucking love it. You're a top bloke. You're honest. You're straight down the line. That's what I love about you.
Cheers. The way I think Retro Chef said it on another stream somewhere. The thing about me is I swear a lot, but if someone's swearing a lot, it normally means they're talking in their true voice. They're not thinking about what they're saying. They've got a loose tongue, sort of thing. So,
well, I can swear a lot on your channel because I don't on my channel, and that's purely because I get messages. You know what? Right, I do look at where people are watching my videos, and a lot of people from America. And I get messages from kids or dads in America saying, my son loves your channel. And I'm thinking, I mean, that fucking touches my heart. It really does. I'm thinking, I get the most amazing messages, honestly, from people that have disabilities, that can't get out, and love video games and love my channel. And they say that their kids love my channel. And you know what? That hits right here. It really does. And do you know what? I can hold back from swearing. I don't have to fucking swear. I can swear all day at work. I'm a bricklayer. I'm
a plasterer. That's all we do all day.
All day long. I can swear fucking cunt, you bastard, you wanker, you motherfucker. Right? But when I'm on my YouTube, I don't have to. You know? I'm talking about games. I can hold it back. I've got a vocabulary. I don't need to swear all the time. And I just think of the people that, this is what fucking gets me about the channel, you know, just the people that watch and the kids that watch. It touches my heart every fucking time. I just think I don't need to swear. But I'll do it on your channel if you don't mind.
Oh, mate, you know what it is? I watch my early videos where I'm thinking about what I'm saying and I'm not swearing and I don't look relaxed. I'm like this. I'm like,
yeah.
Whereas now,
I can do it. I mean, it doesn't bother me. I mean, I can switch it off. It's no problem. You know, I do swear. I mean, not loads, but you know, I think people over swear.
I try not to do that now.
Yeah, you just sound like a dick, really, in my mind.
Like I'm not one of these people who rant and swear all the while, but like I might drop some at one thing and I'll just leave that fucking sort of thing.
Like, yeah, you don't need to swear on your channel. There's no point. You don't need to. You know, swearing is to really express yourself if you're pissed off about something or you're really passionate about something. I mean, some people do, right? You can do that. Depends who you are as a person, really. I don't feel like I need to all the time. I
don't drop the C bomb as much as I used to. There has to be something really special for that now. Gibbs 84, who I always think is the Gebs, and I'll mention that every time I read his name. Is there such a thing as a VR arcade cabs? If not, do you think they would ever take off? I remember back in the 90s, there used to be those round podium things and you used to wear the VR headsets. I remember seeing those on telly. They were a thing.
Yeah, well, I used to go to EAG, which is what do you say? It's an event it's at the Excel in London every year where companies showcase their latest arcade games, and it's been happening for the last 40 years. And I go there every year, even though a lot of it's modern stuff. And the year before, they showcased a lot of VR arcade machines. And I thought the technology was mediocre, you know, like in terms of the graphics. And I thought, like this, so I sat on this bike that looked like a Tron bike. I actually did a video of it. So it's me sitting on a motorcycle, plastic motorcycle, and it looks like Tron. It's got the neon wheels and everything. And you put the headset on, the VR headset on, and you're in this fucking VR motorcycle world. And I thought it was really cool, but it needed someone to man the machine. And I just thought, how the hell is that going to work in an arcade? No one's going to fucking stand by that machine and man it while you're playing the game constantly. You've got
You can't get fucking change half the time.
Huh?
You can't get change half the time in an arcade, let alone.
And who's going to want to put a dirty VR set on their fucking head after some scumbag from the fucking Pikey council estate is fucking been using it? Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to want to.
Nah. That might be why they needed the person, though, to wipe it down and everything.
Yeah, exactly. It's never going to work in an arcade. It will never work.
No.
It will never work. All right for home use and you, but who's going to keep wanting putting a VR set to someone else's, especially with COVID around?
Yeah, I was just about to say
over that. You have some of that.
Second question from Raz. Latest rumor is that there will be a Breath of the Wild 2 in Q2. I'm guessing that's what Raz is saying. Q2. You hyped yet?
Latest rumor is in Q2. Yeah, am I hyped? Yeah, man, I can't wait, Raz. Honestly, mate. I think they're going to go a bit darker with this new game. Bit darker. Still be the open world because they've got that whole game there, that whole engine, the game engine ready there. They can reuse that game engine and create some new dungeons, make it a little bit darker, a little bit like Majora's Mask, maybe, you know, a little bit of a twist on it. And I think it's going to be a fantastic game. Yeah, I can't wait, buddy. I really can't.
I know. I'm sure it was a couple of weeks ago. Raz shared some sort of post. I know he's excited for his massive Nintendo fan, definitely.
Man, he's got an amazing collection. Have you seen his collection? It's fucking amazing.
He has, but that's why he's not got a girlfriend he keeps on about, so he needs to fucking sacrifice one or the other, I think. I'd sacrifice women if I had to give any advice. Addy Sneaker Freak, Steve says, used to enjoy Alex's live streams and chats. Will they return? Well, they did return, and then Alex deleted it by mistake. But...
yeah, mate, honestly. Yeah, definitely, mate. Definitely. It's taken me a while to get Wi-Fi down here. I don't know why it's taking me so long because it was so easy to do. Just run a cable down here. I just need a 50-foot cable. But I've got Wi-Fi in this room. I've got so much I want to do for the channel. It's just been a bit difficult for me at the moment. There's a lot going on in my life. My dad's not very well at the moment. So I haven't been posting videos as regularly as I wanted to, so because life's getting in the way. But I'm always here. I'm never going away, and I'm definitely going to do more live streams. And I've got a new arcade machine that I'm looking at now, which is absolutely awesome, and it's Sega. It's not Nintendo. and I've got another jammer cab I'm picking up on Saturday, which I'm really excited about. So I've got two new arcade machines, and I've got some. I'm also going to bring back the Super Nintendo series that I used to have. I've got some new Super Nintendo games, so I want to do that. But plenty of live streams, definitely. Especially now I've deleted that last one. But I just feel like I can't do it straight away. Give it a couple of weeks, and I'll do another live stream, definitely.
Got another question. I was just reading there because Ant was saying I was on about the Virtuality 1000. It was Amiga based, apparently. It must have been back in the 90s, that was. But this is a question from Sega Saturn lad Scott. Did you ever go to Sega World? Geez, I can't pronounce where that is.
Yes,
that's somewhere in London.
Yeah, I did. I did go there. Fond memories of hanging out there. Mate, I'm a London guy, you know, I'm a London lad. Probably know I've got a South London accent. So I used to hang out there quite a lot. And also, there was another arcade, can't remember what it's called now. Is it a casino? But yeah, I love the Trocadero. I think it was absolutely amazing. A couple of my mates have actually had arcade machines out of that place. It was unbelievable, unbelievable. I do miss that. I miss fucking Soho. Soho was such a cool place to hang out. God, man. Soho. You know, when I was 19, I went into Soho with my best mate Sid, and we went into a fucking peep show, which you did, but it was the first, you know, when you're 18, it's the sort of thing you did, right? You went to a peep show, you put £1 in a slot, and the old curtains used to go, and the old bird used to come out, and you look around you and you're like, fucking hell, this is a bit scummy in here, right? And then you fucking get your fix, and you come out, and there'd be like shops everywhere, books, vids, mags. Books, vids, mags. And you go in these fucking shops, you go down, there'll be all these blokes in there with raincoats on looking at all these videos and stuff. And then you come out of there and you go to an arcade and you spend some money in the arcade and you'd have a fucking great day. Great day, man. That was a great day back in the day, man, in the fucking 80s. And then you go to the Marquee, the fucking Marquee in London, man. Go to the Marquee. Do you know I saw Guns N' Roses at the Marquee in 1987? Guns N' Roses, their first ever gig in the fucking London was at the Marquee, and I was there. I was fucking there. Long hair down to here, man. Cowboy boots. I looked like a right cunt.
Is that when you were in Boone? Is that when you look? Is that when you looked like you were in Boone? Was it with your big leather jacket and everything?
Man, London was a great place to be. It's shit now. It's fucking shit. But I mean, as a young man growing up in London, there were opportunities. You know, you could stay in a fucking a bed sit above a pub. You know, it was just a fucking great place to be, London. I feel sorry for kids today, man, because there's no opportunities in London.
No worries. We're coming towards the end. I want to ask one last question. It's going to be mine. If
Was that it?
Yeah, we're nearly at 2 hours, mate.
Oh, fuck that. Let's do 3. Man,
I'd like to, mate, but I've got a kebab going cold.
Fuck, let's get on the run, man. Let's party.
So the last question is from me. If space wasn't an issue, let's say 15 cabs maximum, what would be your ideal arcade?
15?
Yeah.
15, right.
Space is no issue, so you can have it set out how you want. 15 cabs in your ideal arcade.
Right. So, okay, Super Hang-On, Zookeeper. That's 1, 2. Sheriff, Sky Skipper, Robotron, Defender, Rescue, Space Invaders, 2 Jammer Cabs, horizontal, vertical. That's 10. Asteroids Deluxe, iRobot, Astro Blaster, Paperboy, Space Harrier. There you go.
Awesome. And I think that would be an arcade that a lot of us would spend a lot of time in. So, Alex, despite the technical issues, thank you for coming on, mate. Hope your dad is okay as he can be, sort of thing. Just want to say thank you for coming on. Everyone's loved you in the chat. They love your stories. So definitely bring your live streams back. I mean, look, if you want to go and shoot a live stream straight now to your channel after this, if you want to do another hour, you've got an audience here ready to go.
Well, I just want to thank everyone that's watched tonight. I want to thank you, Dana, for hosting this. It's a great fucking episode. Also, I want to thank all my subscribers that have been absolutely brilliant, stuck with me for so long. I mean, you know, I've had my ups and downs where I haven't posted that much. And the community, the whole community, that's absolutely brilliant. That's what I do it for. I'm not into fucking Patreons and fucking advertising and all that shit. I do it because of the community and I love the hobby. It's a hobbyist channel, you know, and I just appreciate everyone that watches my channel. My videos are not the best, you know, I'm not very good at editing. I'm a bit old school. So I appreciate everyone that watches. I'm a bit drunk.
Brilliant. Alex,
I'm on neat rum. I'm on neat rum now. The Coke's run out.
All I want to say is, Alex, again, thank you for coming on. Hopefully your recovery from the broken arm is finally on its way out. You're a great channel, honest, genuine channel. Love watching all your stuff. Look forward to seeing some live streams, especially if you're going to get drunk. That could be interesting. And just again, thank you for coming on, mate. It's massively appreciated.
Cheers, Dana.
No worries. I'm just going to drop you
top bloke, man.
Thank you. I'm just going to drop you backstage while I speak to the minions. Right, guys, I think you can agree. Alex, obviously, you know, he could have gone home after that phone call and not come back. It's brilliant to come on. Tells a great story. If you've never ever checked out Alex's channel, one, you should have while you're watching me if you've not watched Alex. But go and check him out. Go and watch that Sky Skipper journey. You know, it's one of the most natural progressions of a journey to find an arcade game you're going to ever see on YouTube. And that's it, really. That's all I can say about Alex. Coming this Sunday is something new to the channel. Feel free to drop it a watch. We're going to have Game Zone Bird Room versus Feed Me Chicken. We're going to have a game off hosted by me. Fuck knows how it'll go. But again, thank you all for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. Drop me a like, drop me a dislike. I really don't give a fuck. But thank you all for watching. Thank you all for your questions. Don't have nightmares. Do sleep well. Goodbye.